So we're carrying on with the book of Judges. Carrying on with the book of Judges. Chapter 10. Chapter 10? No. Yeah, chapter 10. Then the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord. Well, the children of Israel just keeps on doing fucking evil. Stealing land that's not theirs, killing babies. Who gives a shit? Massacring the innocents. And serve the Baals and all these other many gods, not the one true God of the great spirit of goodness. Honor good. Respect good. Do good. So the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he sold them into the hands of the Philistines and into the hands of the people of Ammon. Well, hell, that's the answer right there. Israel needs to be sold into the hands of the Philistines. The Palestinians need to be empowered, and Israel needs to be delivered into their hands. No, you have to do the military checkpoints. No, the calories of food going to Israel needs to be counted. No, your land gets taken from you. And then once you've been the slaves of the Philistines for, say, 10 years, then you're absolved. Then you become the Lord's people yet once again. Then you become the chosen people. The reason why Israel is the chosen people is because Moses delivered them out of Egypt because they were in bondage. They were the slaves. They were the slaves. That's why they're the chosen people. They were the ones being terrorized and oppressed and criminalized. They were the ones being fucked the fuck over. They were the ones having their land and their fruits and their exploitation. They were the ones being... Now, Jephthah, the Gileadite, was a mighty man of valor, but he was the son of a harlot, and Gilead begot Jephthah. Gilead's wife bore sons, and when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him, "You shall have no inheritance in our father's house, for you are the son of another woman." Then Jephthah fled from his brothers and dwelt in the land of Tob. And worthless men banded together with Jephthah and went out raiding with him. It came to pass after a time that the people of Ammon made war against Israel. It's chapter 11. Chapter 13, again, the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. Yeah, they need to be they keep on doing evil. So 10 years, it might not even be enough. Maybe they need to be at the beck and call of Palestine. Bethlehem. Jesus came out of Bethlehem. Make MC Abdul. There's a rapper, a 12-year-old, 14-year-old rapper. Make him the king of Israel and Palestine and Gaza and the West Bank and Hebron and Bethlehem. And where did the Good Samaritan come from? Jethro. Again, the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. Chapter 14. So Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother and came to the vineyards of Timnah. Now to his surprise, a young lion came roaring against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him. And he tore the lion apart as one would have torn apart a young goat, though he had nothing in his hand. But he did not tell his father or his mother what he had done. So now we're at the story of Samson. Samson with the long flowing hair, the strong, mighty Samson. This is a hero of Israel. After some time, when Samson returned to get her, because he went down and talked with the woman, she pleased Samson, he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. So he's just going to kill the lion with his bare hands. And then he sees the carcass of the lion later on, and behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the carcass of the lion. These stories are so damned absurd. So he says, I got a riddle for you, and if you can figure the riddle out, I'll give you 30 linen garments. I'll give you 30 changes of clothes. I'll give you 30 outfits if you can figure this riddle out. And the riddle is this: out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. Now that rhymes. I don't know if it would rhyme in whatever, what is it, Hebrew, or what is, what's the original? I forget the original. What was Jesus' original tongue? What tongue was Jesus Christ? It says most likely Hebrew, though his everyday life would have been conducted in Aramaic. That's right. Jesus spoke Aramaic. So this is a stupid riddle. There's not, what can you figure out? You'd have to know his experience. Oh, you killed a lion and you found a pot of honey in the lion, and then out of the strong you ate something sweet, and then out of the eater, the lion, you ate something out of the, you could have ate the lion itself. But who gives a shit, right? Nothing makes any fucking sense. Then Samson's wife wept on him and said, you only hate me. You do not love me. You have posed a riddle to the sons of my people, but you haven't explained it to me. Samson's wife is so fucking decrepit and dishonest. She's such an Eve, right? Adam and Eve. Hey, don't touch that one tree. Which, this tree right here? I sure love eating this one tree I'm not supposed to eat. No, you love doing evil, huh? Samson's wife keeps on tricking Samson. So the men of the city said to him on the seventh day before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said to them, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would have not solved my riddle. If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle. Somehow you got to me. You got close to me. I allowed you to plow with my heifer, and now you solved my riddle. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon him mightily, and he went to Ashkelon and killed 30 of their men. But he took their apparel, and he gave the changes of clothes to those who had explained the riddle. So some of the Philistines, he killed 30 of them, stole their clothes, like the Terminator, right? I want your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. He took that stuff from some of the Philistines and gave it to the other Philistines. So his anger was aroused, and he went back up to his father's house. And Samson's wife was given to his companion, who had been his best man. Samson found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, reached out his hand and took it and killed 1,000 men with it. I'm going to read Proverbs later on. Because the great spirit of goodness has to prevail. You got to be committed to goodness. Honor good. Do good. You got to know what virtues are. In a democratic republic, you got to have a virtuous people in order to elect virtuous leaders who believe in love, peace, justice, joy, happiness, the domestic tranquility, and the general welfare, and the freedom and justice and the common defense, and to form a more perfect union. He found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, reached out his hand and took it and killed 1,000 men with it. Okay, that makes so much sense. Samson, with the long flowing hair, just had the jaw of a donkey and killed 1,000 men. The first 2 men didn't see what was happening. I mean, the first 10 didn't see what happened to the first 2. And they just, how can one man, this is impossible. Then Samson said, with the jaw of a donkey, heaps upon heaps, with the jawbone of a donkey, I have slain 1,000 men. It's not even a good poem. Now Samson went to Gaza, oh shit, and saw a harlot there, and he went into her. It's interesting, Moses had killed the Midianites too, but he was married to a Midianite. Samson loves the Midianites. He keeps going to the Midianites. And it's the Philistines or the Midianites. And why are we genociding all over the place? Why not integrate? How can we just keep saying we got to conquer these people and steal their fucking land? Why don't you learn to live in harmony with other people? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Did King David not kill that one soldier just to take his wife? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not murder. This is the law of Moses. Samson went to Gaza and found a harlot there. Let's go to the law of Moses, but we're going to ignore all the fucking God shit and just get to the law of man. Well, okay, keep Sabbath and the name, and I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, blah, blah, blah. When you put all these other laws together, that's a good law to build a civilization upon. It doesn't say obey father and mother, it says honor father and mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God has given you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. By not committing adultery, that makes for strong marriages. Strong marriages make for good civilization, makes for good families. You can raise the kids up for 20 years or so. Don't steal, don't murder. That's their property. That's not yours. Property is the basis of civilization. Of course you're not supposed to murder, but apparently you have to say obvious shit. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You can't lie about people. You can't lie about them saying, oh no, he committed adultery. No, he stole. He's the murderer. You shall not covet thy neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, which is interesting, slaves. Okay, again, we're going to throw out the absurdity. Maybe a wage slave, right? They hired their wage slave. So do not covet your neighbor's wife. Do not covet your neighbor's employees. Do not covet your neighbor's ox or your neighbor's donkey or anything that's your neighbor's. You want a good civilization? We need neighbors to get along. People can be so fucking terrible. So you have to tell neighbors that they got to be good neighbors to each other. Love thy neighbor as you love yourself. That's the golden rule. And then after Moses brought the 10 Commandments down, now all the people witnessed the thunderings and the lightning flashes and the sound of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they trembled and stood afar off. Those are good laws. Those are good laws to build a civilization upon. All the rest of this shit, you could probably throw the rest of this shit out. Jesus is a badass. But his concubine, chapter 19. But his concubine played the harlot against him and went away from him to her father's house at Bethlehem in Judah, and was there 4 whole months. As they were enjoying themselves, suddenly certain men of the city, perverted men, surrounded the house and beat on the door. They spoke to the master of the house, the old man, saying, "Bring out the man who came to your house, that we may know him carnally. There's a man that ran into another man's house, and we want to rape the shit out of that man, just like they did to that Palestinian prisoner." And then everybody's going to storm. You had the fucking riot in defense of rape. So we're going to use rape as a... Read Judges 19, Israel. Read Judges 19. Bring out the man who came to your house so we may rape him. But the man, the master of the house, says, No, I have to take care of the stranger. He come to me and he wanted asylum. He wanted sanctuary. So I have to protect him. That's what the Lord wants me to do, is to protect him. And it's actually the man is going to be like, "Hey, I beg you, do not act so wickedly. Do not take him and rape him to death. Seeing this man has come into my house, do not commit this outrage. Look, here is my virgin daughter and the man's concubine." So he's saying, why not just rape my virgin daughter instead? Hell, the man has a concubine. He's got a little, not a wife, but he's got a little harlot himself. He's got his whore. You could take the man's whore and have fun with her. You got the virgin daughter. You got the man's whore. No, I want to rape the man. That's what these perverted men are saying. The perverted men wants to rape the man. But the man of the house is saying, rape my daughter instead. What? Humble them. Do with them as you please. But this man, do not do such a vile thing. Why is this man protecting this other man so fucking much? Or is he just saying something? You know, you want to fuck the man over, but you don't know these other two, so you don't want to fuck them over, rape them to death. No, we want to rape that man to death. But you're just a bunch of fucking perverts and you're drunk and really you just want to fuck something. But the men would not heed him, so the man took his concubine and brought her out to them. So the man brings his own harlot out. He brings his own whore, not his virgin daughter, not the whore of the stranger. But he says, here, you'll take my whore. You take my guma. Take my guma. And you do with her as you please. And then they knew her and abused her all night. So they raped her and they raped her some more. And they abused her all night until morning. And when the day began to break, they let her go. Then the woman came as the day was dawning and fell down at the door of the man's house where her master was till it was light. When her master arose in the morning and opened the doors of the house and went out to go his way, there was his concubine fallen at the door of the house with her hands on the threshold. And he said to her, "Get up and let us be going." But there was no answer, so the man lifted her onto the donkey, and the man got up and went to his place. When he entered his house, he took a knife, laid hold of his dead or dying concubine, and chopped her up, divided her into 12 pieces, limb by limb. And then he sent her throughout all the territory of Israel. And so it was that all who saw it said, no such deed has been done or seen from this day that the children of Israel came up from the land of Egypt until this day. Consider it, confer, and speak up. And this is going to get the Israelites pissed off at the tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Benjamin is going to get slaughtered. And if the tribe of Benjamin is producing these wicked motherfuckers, then this is Israel taking care of the Israelis themselves. You see wickedness, you see evil, so you stop the wickedness and the evil. My God, you could just have 3 rules. Don't molest children, don't rape, don't murder. That would be 3 rules that would be easy as shit. And then I got my own top 10 list somewhere around here. But if you want to make it easy, right? Because raping somebody else, doing crimes to somebody else, yeah, you might think you're disrespecting them. You're disrespecting yourself. You stuck your penis in the butthole of another man? Good job, Israel. Wow, fantastic job. You stuck your dick in another man's ass and you wanted to stick your dick in another man's ass so fucking much. You want to stick your dick in another man's ass so fucking much that you went and chased the stranger in the fucking the other Israelite. He's saying take the concubine, take the virgin daughter. Instead, you're going to rape her to death. You want to rape the man so bad, you rape the woman so bad. And then he chopped the concubine up and sent it out to everybody and said, look at what you've fucking done. Look at what you've done. You're such evil, wicked motherfuckers. You had to bomb Palestine. You had to keep on killing the babies of Palestine. When I think of Palestine, it's hard for me to stop speaking about it because I think of like one little kid barely hanging on. One little kid who's under the rubble and you just keep digging because you know he's there and he's breathing. Every second, every moment, every minute means the world. And if we can save one person's life, God damn it, then we should save that person's life. And so it was that all who saw it said, no such deed has been done or seen from this day that the children of Israel came up from the land of Egypt until this day. Consider it, confer, and speak up. So all the children of Israel came out from Dan to Beersheba, as well as from the land of Gilead, and the congregation gathered together as one man before the Lord at Mizpah. And Benjamin went out against them from Gibeah on the 2nd day and cut down to the ground 18,000 more of the children of Israel. All these drew the sword. And the Lord defeated Benjamin. The Lord defeated Benjamin before Israel. Why? Because the great spirit of goodness, love, peace, justice, joy, happiness, the general welfare. Woe to ye Pharisees who tithe mint and cumin, and you forget about faith and mercy and justice. The Lord defeated Benjamin before Israel, and the children of Israel destroyed that day 25,100 Benjamites. All these drew the sword. So the children of Benjamin saw that they were defeated. So all who fell of Benjamin that day were 25,000 men who drew the sword, and all these were men of valor. But 600 men turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. And they stayed at the rock of Rimmon for 4 months. And the men of Israel turned back against the children of Benjamin and struck them down with the edge of the sword from every city, men and beasts, all who were found. And they also set fire to all the cities they came to. Now the men of Israel had sworn an oath at Mizpah, saying, none of us shall give his daughter to Benjamin as a wife. Then the people came to the house of God and remained there before God till evening. They lifted up their voices and wept bitterly and said, O Lord God of Israel, why has this come to pass in Israel, that today there shall be one tribe missing in Israel? So it was on the next morning that the people rose early and built an altar there and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. Let's come back to that. Let's read some Proverbs. Proverbs, over and over it says, do good, honor good, love love justice, love peace, love freedom, love good. When the wicked dies, his hope perishes, and the expectation of the godless comes to naught. The righteous is delivered from trouble, and the wicked gets into it instead. With his mouth, the godless man would destroy his neighbor, but the righteous are delivered. But by knowledge, know things. Knowledge, the righteous are delivered. When it goes well with the righteous, the city rejoices. Ignorance is bliss. It says, no, you need to be knowledgeable. If you're to be righteous, then you need to know things. And when the wicked perish, there are shouts of gladness. By the blessing of the upright, a city is exalted, but it is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked. He who belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent. He who goes about as a tale-bearer reveals secrets, and he who is trustworthy in spirit keeps a thing hidden. Where there is no guidance, a people falls. A wicked man earns deceptive wages, and one who sows righteousness gets a sure reward. He who is steadfast in righteousness will live, and he who pursues evil will die. Men of perverse mind are an abomination to the Lord, but those of blameless ways are his delight. Be assured, an evil man will not go unpunished, but those who are righteous will be delivered. Like a gold ring in a swine's snout is a beautiful woman without discretion. The desire of the righteous ends only in good. The expectation of the wicked in wrath. One man gives freely, yet grows all the richer. Another withholds what he should give and only suffers want. A liberal man will be enriched, and one who waters will himself be watered. The people curse him who holds back grain, but a blessing is on the head of him who sells it. He who diligently seeks good seeks favor, but evil comes to him who searches for it. He who trusts in his riches will wither, but the righteous will flourish like a green leaf. He who troubles his household will inherit wind, and the fool will be servant to the wise. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, but lawlessness takes away lives. If the righteous is requited on earth, how much more the wicked and the sinner? Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid. A good man obtains favor from the Lord, but a man of evil devices. He condemns. A man is not established by wickedness, but the root of the righteous will never be moved. A good wife is the crown of her husband, but she who brings shame is like rottenness in his bones. The thoughts of the righteous are just, the counsels of the wicked are treacherous. The words of the wicked lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright delivers men. The wicked are overthrown and are no more, but the house of the righteous will stand. A man is commended according to his good sense, but one of perverse mind is despised. Better is a man of humble standing who works for himself than one who plays the great man but lacks bread. A righteous man has regard for the life of his beast, but the mercy of the wicked is cruel. He who tills his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits has no sense. The strong tower of the wicked comes to ruin, but the root of the righteous stands firm. An evil man is enamored by the transgression of his lips, but the righteous escapes from trouble from the fruit of his words. A man is satisfied with good, and the work of a man's hand comes back to him. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. The vexation of a fool is known at once, but the prudent man ignores an insult. He who speaks the truth gives honest evidence, and a false witness utters deceit. There is one whose rash words are like sword thrust, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Deceit is in the heart of those who devise evil, but those who plan good have joy. No ill befalls the righteous, but the wicked are filled with trouble. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who act faithfully are his delight. A prudent man conceals his knowledge, but fools proclaim their folly. The hand of the diligent will rule, while the slothful will be put to forced labor. Anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad. A righteous man turns away from evil, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. This is Proverbs. This is what the people of Israel believe, not the current people of Israel. They don't believe any of that stuff. Let's finish the end of Judges. Judges 21. We'll end Judges. We'll just read all of this until we're at the end. And so it was on the next morning that the people rose early and built an altar there and offered burnt offerings, peace offerings. The children of Israel said, "Who is there among all the tribes of Israel who did not come up with the assembly to the Lord?" For they had made a great oath concerning anyone who had not come up to the Lord at Mizpah, saying, "He shall surely be put to death." And the children of Israel grieved for Benjamin their brother, and said, "One tribe is cut off from Israel today. What shall we do for wives for those who remain, seeing we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give them our daughters as wives?" And they said, "What one is there from the tribes of Israel who did not come up to Mizpah to the Lord?" And in fact, no one had come to the camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly, for when the people were counted, indeed not one of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead was there. So the congregation sent out there 12,000 of their most valiant men, and commanded them, saying, "Go and strike the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword." including the women and children. And this is the thing that you shall do. You shall utterly destroy every male and every woman who has known a man intimately. So they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins who had not known a man intimately. And they brought them to the camp at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. Then the whole congregation sent word to the children of Benjamin, who were at the rock of Rimmon, and announced peace to them. So Benjamin came back at that time, and they gave him the women whom they had saved alive of the women of Jabesh Gilead, and they had not found enough for them. This is so fucking fucked up. Samson is going to kill the Philistines, but I'm pretty sure they killed 3,000 Philistines. And so when I think about 9/11, 3,000 was killed on 9/11. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Thou shalt not steal, and thou shalt not murder, and thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's ox, because you don't want people to steal and murder you and take your damn ox. And they're going to just say, kill all the men and the women and keep the virgin girls. What about the virgin boys? Did we just kill them too? Where is the justice in any of this? So Benjamin came back at that time, and they gave them the women whom they had saved alive, to the women of Jabesh Gilead. And yet they had not found enough for them, and the people grieved for Benjamin, because the Lord had made a void in the tribes of Israel. Then the elders of the congregation said, what shall we do for wives for those who remain, since the women of Benjamin have been destroyed? And they said, there must be an inheritance for the survivors of Benjamin, that a tribe may not be destroyed from Israel. I think it would have been smart just to get the fucking tribes of Benjamin gone, and gone for good. No, that was Israel taking care of business. That was Israel purging themselves, purging the wicked amongst themselves. And maybe it's in their genetics, maybe it's in their damn genes. But it's like, no, wait a second. We've conquered the tribes of Benjamin, but now we got to, well, maybe that's the whole ebb and flow of wickedness and goodness. Israel becomes evil because they do all this evil shit, but then they become slaves for several years, and then they become the chosen people again, because they're the ones who are terrorized, they're the ones who are oppressed, and they're the ones who are criminalized. And since the great spirit of goodness wants goodness to prevail when they're the victims, well, then they are the chosen people. When they became the perpetrators, then they're not the. Then the elders of the congregation said, what shall we do for the wives of those? There must be an inheritance. However, we cannot give them wives from our daughters, for the children of Israel have sworn an oath, saying, cursed be the one who gives a wife to Benjamin. Then they said, in fact, there is a yearly feast of the Lord in Shiloh, which is north of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goes up from Bethel to Shechem, and south of Lebanon. Therefore they instructed the children of Benjamin, saying, go, lie in wait in the vineyards, and watch. And just when the daughters of Shiloh come out to perform their dances, then come out from the vineyards, and every man catch a wife for himself from the